Welcome to another episode of Let's Chat With. Joining me from Boulder, Colorado is Audrey Jane of Audrey Jane's Pizza Garage. Audrey, how are you doing today?
Good. Thanks so much for having me.
How did Audrey Jane's Pizza Garage get started?
So I worked in pizza for about 5 or 6 years beforehand, and I always knew that I wanted my own restaurant. So I'm from Boulder, Colorado, and I ended up teaming up with my brother, and we opened it in 2015.
Why name the restaurant after yourself and call it a garage?
Great question. We went through a bunch of different names, and it's actually more challenging to think of a name that has not been taken or, trademarked than I imagined it would be. And I always loved the idea of having a restaurant, like converting an old gas station into a restaurant. And that's kind of where the garage part formed. And we wanted to just call it the Pizza Garage, but there was actually a place in LA at the time called Garage Pizza, I want to say. I think they've since closed. And my dad's the one who kind of threw out the idea of putting my name attached to it because he thought it personalized it, like having, like a face and a person with the restaurant made it feel a little warmer. And he was actually right about it. People definitely come. We get a lot of people who come in and say their name is Audrey. We have some little girls who've come in named Audrey Jane, and it kind of adds to the personality of the restaurant, I would say.
What style of pizza do you make? Chicago deep dish, New York, Neapolitan?
We mainly do New York style. We also do Sicilian and grandma pizza.
What kind of dough and sauce do you make for the pizzas?
Our dough is 100% sourdough. Everything is made in-house. So we do kind of a longer fermentation on it. The sauce we do, it's all California tomatoes.
Why make pizza?
Why make pizza? Because why not, right? It's one of the best foods in the world, I would argue. It's easily one of the most popular. And to me, I love it because it's kind of a blank canvas. You have this base of the dough and you can make it as basic or as complicated as you want it to be.
Can you tell me what's on your pizza menu?
We have a few staples on our pizza menu, and then we do weekly rotating specials. Well, we do, we have our basic cheese and pepperoni. Then we also do things like called a spicy pig, a green mountain. We've got different ones that we do our own, like in-house calabrese honey. We've got one with that. We do a lot of different vegetarian, some vegan options, just because, I love it. And then also we live in a place where it's kind of sought after as well.
What's your best seller?
Our best seller is probably, our margarita or pepperoni, but apart from that, I would say the spicy pig or green mountain.
What's on those pizzas?
On the pizzas is the spicy pig is sausage, pepperoni, jalapeno, and garlic. And then our green mountain is like a pile of raw spinach that bakes down in the oven with ricotta and green olives, Castelvetrano olives, basil, parmesan, and garlic as well, and mozzarella.
Earlier you mentioned that you have options for vegetarians and vegans. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So, I know a lot of people go after the meat options, but there's so many great vegetarian options out there. When we started, we didn't even really carry a vegan cheese because I didn't really like any out there. But since then, we do offer that as a substitute. We also make our own in-house pesto that is 100% vegan. So you can add that to any pizza. We do one called the Crunchy Vegan, which is kind of just like a bunch of raw and roasted vegetables and topped with pumpkin seeds and sauce. And then I'd say 50% of our menu is vegetarian.
Are you just a pizzeria or are there other things on the menu?
We're mostly pizzeria. We also do some sandwiches and meatballs and a couple different sides, but we're mainly pizza and salads.
What advice do you have for someone who wants to make pizza or just get into the restaurant business?
I'd say as long as it's not a hobby and it's something you really want to do, then go for it. It's a great industry. It obviously has its challenges. If it's something that you want for yourself, then, it's a very supportive community. There's plenty of resources, plenty of ways to learn how to make pizza, unless, you want to obviously experiment and do it on your own. But I love it.
You were featured on the Food Network show Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dive. What was that experience like?
It was great. So we've actually been on Diners 3 times now, and Guy has been amazing every time. It's always a great boost for business as well as being a really fun experience. They approached us about 2 years into being open. I think they have like producers that kind of go to different areas, and then also other businesses in the area that have been on it recommend other local businesses. And so they approached us and they made us submit like a couple different dishes, and then Guy picked like which restaurants he wanted and which dishes that he wants made on the show.
What was it like for you after the episode aired?
It was great. It drew a lot of attention to our business. We've always had a really good like local following, but now we get people from all over the country and all over the world. I think that show in general has a really big following. Like we get people who come in and say they've been to, 50 or 100 places on Diners and they seek it out, on their vacation, or they actually travel around just going to those places.
So you got the triple D
So
bump then?
we absolutely did. Yeah. It's amazing every time. And they don't really tell us when like they repeat episodes, but we always can kind of tell based on, oh, like our meatball grinder was featured on the show. And whenever we have a huge increase in orders for that, then we know, or, obviously people come in and say that they saw us as well.
For you and your restaurant, what does the future hold?
Well, this will be our 9th year in business coming up. So we love our location now, and we're actually looking for a second location. We also started a line of pasta sauce recently. Well, it's been a couple of years now, and we're in about 35 local grocery stores and businesses selling that as well. So we've branched out in a few different directions, but I think we're fine. After 9 years, we're finally ready to do a second location.
What made you decide to do the pasta sauce?
It's always something I've wanted to do. Ever since opening, I always wanted to sell sauce. Our kind of motto is don't mess with the sauce. I love pasta as well as pizza. I want to say who doesn't, but I'm sure there's people out there that don't. I guess in my mind, it was a good accompaniment to the restaurant. I don't think I realized like how much different selling retail sauces than running a restaurant. So we've definitely run into some hurdles there. Also, just kind of the price point of our sauce, like all the ingredients and jars cost us so much to make. It's hard to sell it at a reasonable price. I think we're kind of limited on going national with the sauce, but it's still something that we love to make and to sell just like within our own shop and like local area.
Finally, where can people find more about you and Audrey Jane's Pizza Garage? Website, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Threads?
Yeah, so our Instagram is at Audrey Janesa, and our website is thepizzagarage.com. We're not on Twitter or TikTok, so is that even a thing anymore?
Well, thank you, Audrey, for joining me on this episode of Let's Chat With.
Thank you for having me.